I freed 1,000 slaves. And I could have freed 1,000 more if they only knew they were slaves.
I would like to introduce you to Grace. Just so you know, Grace is not her real name, but her story is very real. Real for her and many men and women like her. Grace is an Ethiopian lady. She is married with a small daughter. A few years ago in Grace's village, there was an uprising. A local militia group came through, looting, raping, burning, and killing indiscriminately. Grace managed to hide and escape the onslaught. Her husband and her daughter were not so lucky. With no money, no home, and no family left, Grace decided to leave her village. She made ends meet by collecting plastic glasses and bottles from the street and swapping them for small amounts of money so that she could get food. While she was living on the streets, she was approached by a man who seemed to understand her situation. They began to build a friendship, and she began to trust him. He seemed to understand all that she had been through and offered Grace the opportunity to get away from it all, to start afresh, to get a new job, and to rid herself of some of the memories that this place held. Grace decided that things couldn't get any worse and decided to take this opportunity. She did not realize that the job was not in Ethiopia. She did not realize she would have to get on a plane for the first time ever, nor did she realize that she would be sold. She was isolated. She didn't speak the language. She had no idea where to go for help. Grace was trapped and had been enslaved.
Fears of a second recession have caused panic in Europe's financial markets.
The severity of this recession will cause more pain before it ends.
The European Union cannot bail out Greece. You've seen the government of Spain coming out and saying, we have the same problem. Portugal says the same thing. There's some talk that Italy could be in trouble.
US intelligence officials are growing more and more concerned that foreign operatives are surveilling computer systems that control America's infrastructure.
Girls my daughter's age runs away from home or is lured by the false promise of a better life and then imprisoned in a brothel and tortured if she resists. That's slavery.
Slavery is a powerful word. Civilizations, trade, wealth, even cities. Big cities were built through people. London, Wales, and many other places, as history tells us, how millions and millions of people fought for their freedom. Yet today we have 46 million people who are slaves. That's over half the population in the UK. Some know they're slaves, some don't. It is faster than the drug trade since people can be sold more than once. Statue of Liberty, Empire State Building, London's Eye. Many of these wonders of the world were built years ago. With all this new technology, innovation, yet many of these countries stopped building such huge projects? Why? What changed? Maybe new leaders? Or is it new laws? Many countries haven't tried building these enormous projects simply because they're expensive. Yet the Gulf countries like Saudi, Oman, United Arab Emirates, Qatar are enjoying an economic boom where they're turning deserts into paradise for tourists. In Dubai, an estimation of $2.5 billion was invested for construction projects alone in 2019. This huge success story was built with millions of migrant workers. Most come from Asian countries, primarily India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Most of these workers are promised better lives, well-paid jobs. But upon arrival, their passports are taken away by their employer. And then they start to work 15 hours a day, 6 days a week in temperatures which go over 50 degrees. And all of this just to get paid $5 to $6 a day.
No, the world has come to know what is happening. As a mother, as a leader, I will not stand, I will not sit and watch this kind of. We are not animals. There is no slave trade anymore.
This is Fanmadel, age 22. He was sent to Dubai from India, promised a better life for him and his family. We found out about him through his sister.
He wanted to earn more to improve his life.
The day Kumar left for Dubai was the last day his family ever saw him.
A local agent recruited him. This person had contacts outside of the village and could arrange everything, so my brother was sent with him.
He committed suicide in his labor camp. His parents leaked us a copy of his suicide letter.
I do this of my own free will. This is no one's fault. The reason is money. My financial problems are too much for me. I cannot make the repayments on my loan. I have a pain in my stomach, but I have no money for a doctor. I ask that my parents and sisters do not weep for me. Please divide my possessions between the family.
Marivik? Give me lighter. I don't think there is a human rights in this world. No way. Maybe in Europe, but not in the Middle East.
Millions like him go to the Gulf countries just to be slaves. We were contacted by one of the workers.
My name is Shukarma. I was sent here for work from India. I was told they would send me for building works and to a limited company where the salary would be 1,500 dirhams and 4 hours overtime. I've sold my shop and come here, and they put me in construction work. For eating and cooking, it is very difficult. Somehow, please take me to India. They drop us here to work, and they themselves leave after that. I haven't been paid properly. When I arrived, I had 200 rupees, which I've used for buying necessities. I borrowed 150 rupees so I could eat. I have no money left. I want to go back to India. Somehow, I'm in a lot of pain.
हम आए थे तो हमारे पास 200 रुपए था जो आने के लिए भाड़े में खर्चा हो गया और हमको अभी तक 250 रुपए मिला है जो खाया था उसको भर दिया पैसा मेरे पास नहीं है.
After seeing this, we decided to contact their agent, who promised us a sum of $4,000 a month and a good position as well in a well-known company. This is the same exact contract a lot of these workers are promised. And the agent also mentions that the passport will be taken for 2 days upon arrival. This is the same lie told to all the workers, just so they have no escape and they're prisoners. They're slaves.
Because they're not getting any free time even. Cities and feelings. So people are deep stress.
Modern day slaves. Many of these workers are not educated, neither have the knowledge, nor know the reality of what they're truly signing up for. And they get trapped for years.
कहीं चली गई, क्या है, ना है, ये सारी चीज़ जानना है, ठीक है? ये
ठीक ठाक है, राजी खुशी है और कोई
अच्छा, ये हम बोलेंगे या आप बोलेंगे तो कोई मानेगा? अरे मेरे बाप, आप खुद बात कर लो, ख़त्म कहानी।
तो गरीब आदमी बेचारा
किसी की बेइज्जती ना हो।
I think what we're seeing in action is exactly the way Shafiq normally works, even if we weren't here filming. This is the kind of trust and confidence he's got to try and build up in order for men like these to allege to be doing what they're accused of doing. This is a very, very hard circle to penetrate, and they won't want to speak explicitly on camera.
I was feeling confused, even I was wishing I would die. It was hard. I don't want to remember it.
Slavery still exists today. It has its own definition, modern-day slavery. The United Nations defines it as such. It's very subtle, though. It's very different to the stereotypical understanding of what the concept of slavery is. Modern-day slavery, a very good example would be where international employers recruit international workers, get them to come to their countries, and then withhold certain valuable documents which limit the mobility of the employees. They therefore force the employees to work for them. They enforce contracts and the costs that are incorporated into those contracts, and they leave the employees without any recourse to be able to get out of those contracts or to be mobile. This is a form of slavery, very tacit, very tactful, and very done by unscrupulous employers. Now, the consequence of this kind of modern day form of slavery is that certain mega projects can then take place because the costings and the enforcement of contracts allows the employers to exploit their employees, the workers that are now, who now have their documents withheld and who have the contracts that they've signed with the employers enforced strictly. In countries where you don't have this form of modern-day slavery, such projects would be nearly impossible because of the costs associated therewith.
Over 800 workers died in a year alone at construction sites in Dubai. The main issue is the kafala system. What is the kafala system? It's the system that governs millions of migrant workers in the Middle East. Workers are tied to one sponsor, or known as kafil. In most countries, the sponsor controls most aspects of their lives, including whether they can move on to a new job, renew their residency permit, and in some cases even return home. This level of unequal power can result in the extortion of unlawful payments and even situations of forced labor. Under the visa sponsorship system, the right to live and work in the country is completely dependent on one person, their sponsor. If the sponsor fires the workers, cancels their permit, or does not renew them in time, they will become vulnerable to detention and deportation. If workers are in any abusive situation, they face multiple challenges to unravel themselves from the sponsor. A number of countries have tried to change this law to make it better for the labor, but there is still a lot of work to be done for this unequal relationship to be better. How can the unequal relationship be addressed? Make sure worker permits are not tied to a specific employer. Enable workers to be responsible for renewing their own permits. Give the workers the permission to independently end their contract, obviously with good reason. Allow the workers to change employers without the consent of their current employer. Workers should even have the permission to leave the country whenever they want without seeking the approval of their employer. What are the benefits if this relationship is fixed? Well, a more flexible and dynamic labor market and economy, less abuse by recruitment agencies and subcontractors, workers are less vulnerable to forced labor, and international reputation and government is improved.
Slavery does not treat people as unique individuals, but as commodities, things through which money can be made. You may be sitting there today and thinking, what can I do? You can spot the signs of slavery in your communities. Behind me on the screen now are 8 general indicators that you could look out for. Through the stories I've told today, you will also understand where slavery may exist and where else it may interact with your community. The house on your street that has comings and goings at all times of night and day. The person that serves you but doesn't give you eye contact, appears withdrawn. The service that you purchase but a third party comes and collects the money. All of these things may be indicators that slavery is occurring. I think often we hesitate, we're unsure, we don't want to get it wrong. But the Modern Slavery Helpline is there to assist you. If you have any concerns around slavery, if you think you have spotted any signs, call the Modern Slavery Helpline and they will be able to help you and advise you. If after today you want to take action, go onto the Modern Slavery Footprint website. This is a website that allows you to understand where your lifestyle choices connect with slavery. It gives you an estimate of how many slaves are working for you. I am ashamed to say that after all I know and after all I try to do, I have a staggering 38 slaves working for me. Once you are armed with this knowledge, you can start making personal choices about what it is you want to do to start tackling this issue in your own life. One day, Grace's exploiter left the door open. They left it unlocked, and she decided to take her chance. The police delivered Grace to Unseen Safe House, where she was able to access the care and support she needed. She accessed the doctor, sexual health support, counseling, and legal advice. Grace is now living independently in the community. She is an amazing woman. She is learning English, and not only that, she is now volunteering to help other vulnerable women.
If I never argue with them, still I will be their slave.
We assisted them to get better accommodation and also safe and secure employment. I would like to leave you today with the words of William Wilberforce. You may choose to look the other way, but you can never again say that you did not know.
This documentary was meant to shine some light on the millions of immigrants who get false promises to make better judgments in the future. Do share and don't forget to subscribe.